Welcome to the Edupedia world. Today we study Core Java. Now let's begin. So the agenda for this tutorial will be Introduction to Programming Language, Types of Programming Language, Introduction to Java, then we'll study Evolution of Java and then some features of Java. So let's begin. Okay, so let's begin with Introduction to Programming Language. Basically, what is programming language? You can say programming language is something that computer can understand. So if I talk in formal terms, computer programming language is something that is constructed language or design that to communicate instruction to machine, particularly a computer. Programming language can be used to create programs to control the behavior of machine or to express algorithm. Now, explaining it in a very simple term, you can say language that computer can understand is a programming language. Although computer cannot understand directly whatever you are typing, but it takes help of some other software such as interpreter or compiler to make it understandable so that it can convert it into a machine understandable language. Now, what are interpreter and compiler? Basically, interpreter is a computer program that directly executes instruction written in a programming or scripting language without previously compiling them into a machine program. So you can say interpreter is a computer program that is directly executing your computer programs. And what is compiler? Basically, compiler is a computer program, you can say a set of instruction that transforms source code written in a programming language to another language. So whatever you have written is typically kind of a English-like language which computer cannot understand. So computer need to convert it into a bytecode language which is in a form of 0 and 1. So over there compiler and interpreter helps for the conversion of the language so that computer can finally understand it and execute your program. Now, what are types of programming language? So basically, in a broader category, we have three types of programming language: machine language, assembly language, and high-level language. Now let's study. So, what is machine language or a low-level language? Basically, the fundamental language of computer processor is called low-level language or machine language. So every program is finally converted into a machine language. So whatever language you type, may it be Java, C, C++, Perl, finally it needs to be converted into a form of 0 and 1 so that computer can understand, because computer can only understand bytes that are in a form of 0 and 1. So that is called low level language. Now, for a programmer, it is very difficult to write everything in a form of 0 and 1 because you cannot remember bytecode for every and each number or every and each character. So, then assembly language came. So, assembly language is also a kind of low level language which is similar to machine language, but it uses some symbolic operation code. For example, you can see here's an instruction: add R1 plus R2. So it is doing is it is doing addition of two registers R1 and R2. So registers are nothing, just memory locations. So it is taking content from two memory location and adding it. So the symbolic representation is a assembly language. Now, even assembly language is very difficult to write. I mean, you must have seen code of some of the websites or some of the big programs. It's huge. So it's very difficult to write everything in assembly language. So therefore came a concept of high level language. So computer programming languages that are easier to understand and learn by humans. So it's like English-like statement, for example, Java, C, C++, Visual Basic, Pascal, Fortran, etc. So these all are high-level language. So basically, high-level language are very simple to understand by humans. That's why we are able to learn them. And over here, we learn Java. Okay, so these are some examples of programming language. You can see like they came the machine code language, then assembly language, then came the existence of C, then some modification is done and another language evolved. that is C++. After that, there was Java, and over Java we have Scala, Perl, Ruby, JavaScripts, and various other. So, as we are evolving the programming language, the high-level programming language is getting evolved. So now let's study some introduction to Java. Basically, Java programming language was created by James Gosling from Sun Microsystem in 1991. The target of Java is to write a program once and then run this program on multiple operating systems. So you can see like there are languages like C and C++. If you write it once, then you cannot run it on another operating system. Suppose if you have written a program on Windows, then you cannot run the same program on, say, Linux. But in case of Java, you can do that. So that was the main idea behind preparing this language. So the first public version of Java was Java 1 that was released in 1995. After some time, the Sun Microsystem was acquired by Oracle Corporation, and this happened in 2010. Oracle has now statementship of Java, and in 2006, Java started making Java as a free and open source language, and now it is continued by Oracle as OpenJDK. Structurally, if you talk about Java, it starts with packages. So everything in a Java is a package. So it's kind of something like you are saving a file in a folder in your computer. So similarly, Java saves its all Java file of a project in a package. So you can say it's a namespace mechanism. Like everything, classes, method, variable, everything is encapsulated. And finally, it is stored in packages. Now, Java is very popular programming language, particularly for client and server applications. It is reported that 9 million developers are using and working on Java. So, like the current version of Java is Java 1.8, which is also known as Java 8. Let's study evolution of Java. So, as you know by now that Java 1 came into existence, and now the current version of Java is Java 8. So, how it got evolved? So, let's see this diagram. So after Java 1, we have Java 1.2. In that, some new features came in like scriptf, Swing API, collection framework. Then we moved to Java 3, where again we have some new features JNDI, JPDA. So we'll study about these sometime later. But for this tutorial, let's concentrate how Java evolved. So then came Java 4, again some new features such as logging API, then Java 5, which introduced generics, which is a very important feature in Java, for each loop. Then Java 6 came. Java 6 gave a scripting language support, and it also provides some pluggable annotation. Java compiler API came into being, then came Java 7. So Swing's application framework came into being. Library for parallel computing on multi-core processor came into being. So you can see from December 1998 to May 2000 and then July 2011 and today in 2016 we have Java 8. So this was evolution of Java. Now let's study some of the features of Java language. So basically Java is a platform independent language. What do you mean by platform independent? Well, it is some of the most striking feature of Java. So that means it is not tied down to any particular operating system or hardware. That means a Java program can run unmodified on all supported platforms, for example Windows, Linux. So the idea behind this to create a program on one operating system and to be able to run it on multiple operating systems so that you don't have to create a new program on another operating system. So that makes Java platform independent. Another important feature is it is simple, robust and secure. So that means Java does not have a concept of any explicit pointers. If there is no explicit pointers, then there is no confusion related to dangling pointers pointing to some unallocated memory. So that makes Java very simplified. So Java has a very strong memory management feature and exception handling. So everything in total keeps it very secure and robust. Another important feature is Java is pure object-oriented language. So that means it follows all the OOPS features such as classes, inheritance, encapsulation, abstraction. So if you are aware of these features, well, that's good. And if you are not aware of these features, we'll study them later in another tutorial. Let's move. Again, Java is a distributed language. That means we can access files by calling a method from any machine on internet. So it has features like RMI and EJB, which enables Java to be distributed programming language. So if there's a file on one system, then from another system through internet you can access that file. So that means Java is distributed. Compiled and interpreted. That means Java source code is compiled down by bytecode by Java compiler, and the bytecode is executed by JVM, Java Virtual Machine. We'll study the details of Java Virtual Machine later on. For now, let's see how a Java file gets compiled. So as you can see, this is a source code x.java. The compiler reads the source code and generates a bytecode file. So what is bytecode file? It's nothing, it's a dot class file which contains some symbolic notation which is easier for machine to understand. So when a bytecode file is compiled, now interpreter reads the bytecode and it shows the result on screen. So whenever you compile a Java file, it is converted into a dot class file. And now when you want to run it, that dot class file is read and result is shown. Now, if you want to run it 20 times, then only x.class file will be read. X.java file won't be handled. X.java file, but now if you want to make some changes, then again compilation process will take place. So you make changes in x.java, again the compilation will take place. Dot class file is refreshed or renewed, and then interpreter will run that file and result will appear on screen. So that means this step, the bytecode conversion steps only take place whenever you make changes in your Java file. Otherwise, dot class file is always executed by interpreter. I hope that is clear. So let's move forward. Okay, now another very important feature of Java is automatic garbage collection, which means Java automatically recollects memory which is not referred by other objects. That means, suppose if I am having a variable which I am not using further in my program and will never be used in my program. So Java garbage collection will automatically free that memory and will allocate it to some other object. So what Java garbage collectors keep on doing is it keep on checking all the object references and find the object which can be automatically released. As soon as it finds one, it releases the memory and free the memory. So that's why when we studied earlier, I told you that Java is having a very strong memory management. It is because of a automatic garbage collection feature. Now, Java is a strongly typed programming language. That means Java uses some of the variables which are already defined. So whenever you have to write a Java code, there has to be a proper follow of rules. So the type used in Java, the keywords, everything has to be as it is. You cannot like use a keyword for making your variable name. So everything should be considered and taken care by programmer whenever he is writing the code. Java supports multi-threading. That means if I talk in a very general term, multi-threading is the idea of handling more than one task at a particular time. So within a program, these separately running pieces of a program are called threads. So like this is a bit of a deep concept, but I am hoping that you will understand it. So whenever we create a Java program, it's a kind of a full length program. Inside a Java program, we have thread. So whenever we write a Java program, there is a thread running. So what you can do in a Java program is you can create multiple threads. So the concept of creating multiple threads and running them simultaneously is called multithreading. So the Java Virtual Machine allows an application to have multiple threads of execution that are running concurrently. Now each thread is having a priority. Let's say if I created two threads, then how JVM will decide which thread will be executed first. So that is decided upon priority. Higher the priority, that means that thread will run before a lower priority thread. So whenever JVM starts up, it usually run a single non-daemon thread. A JVM continues to execute that thread until any other threads interrupt it. Okay, another important feature is Java is a high performance language. So what makes it high performance language is bytecode compiled Java program. So as you have seen earlier that Java program gets compiled into a bytecode, and whenever you have to run it, that bytecode, that means that .class files is executed every time. So this increases the performance as compared to other programming languages such as C, C++. Okay. Another important feature is Java is portable. That means you can run Java bytecode on any hardware that has a compliant JVM. So as we have seen earlier that Java is a portable language. You can run the bytecode on any of the operating system which is having a compliant JVM. So just to give a rough idea, JVM is nothing, it's Java Virtual Machine. It's provide an environment to run Java programs. Okay guys, thank you for now. We'll meet in the next tutorial.